All right, everybody, welcome back to Snowbeast Performance. On this episode, we're going to talk about your lat mobility and how that contributes to low back pain. So we don't normally think about our lats as a back pain problem. People that have low backs treat their backs a lot, but they don't treat everything else. And if we don't address your lats, that could be the cause. That could be the underlying thing that's not being solved. So we're going to first go through a screening of lat mobility. So we're going to have Ashley lay down flat on her back. And we're gonna have her bring her knees up towards her chest and fingertips pointing towards the ceiling. Now in this position, I just don't want her to change her spine position at all, so I don't want her to let her back buckle up. But from here, she's gonna go ahead and reach all the way up overhead, and we'll see that she doesn't quite get down to the ground here, right? There's a couple inches of space there. So come on back up, and we're gonna put her legs down flat now. Same thing, we're not gonna change that spine position, and then go ahead and reach all the way overhead. And you can see with this, she actually has a little bit better motion, right? She gets a little bit closer to the ground. What that tells us is that there's some tightness in her lats. So when her knees are up to her chest, go ahead and bring them back up. It's like we're pulling on these lats this way, right? And that would create tension and stop her from getting all the way overhead with her arms. Once she puts her legs down and gives her that slack back, right, then she can reach her arms further. So we know there's a little bit of a lat restriction going on with Ashley. So we're gonna have her roll right over onto her left side, and we're gonna start her with a foam roller. And we're gonna get it right underneath that rib cage. And in this position, what we're gonna have her do is this scrubbing forward and back motion, right? So she can roll up and down a little bit until she finds something that's a little sensitive. And when she finds some tension, she's gonna scrub forward and back. And then whether she's shifted forward or shifted back, she's gonna stay on that tense spot. And then we're gonna rotate that arm forward and backwards. And generally, as you rotate the arm backwards, you're gonna get more tension. And as you rotate the arm forward, you're gonna get a little slack and release of tension. So we're getting tension on, tension off, tension on, tension off. That's the exact response we want. So we're gonna spend maybe 15 or 20 seconds on a spot and move to a new spot. And then we'll have her spend a total like a minute or two on each side. So this can be anywhere from the bottom of the rib cage all the way up into the armpit. And she's just gonna kind of troubleshoot this area a little bit and obviously do that on both sides. So we'll pretend like we did it on both sides here, and we'll go into the stretching part next. After we loosen up that tissue, we need to lengthen that tissue. So we're gonna have Ashley come down to a bench or a box into a kneeling position, elbows up on top. And she's gonna grab a PVC or something light, and we want her elbows in and her hands out, right? So we want her in this external rotation position. And then from here, we wanna arch her back up. So a lot of people will just drop their chest, but we really wanna make this round flexion pattern of her thoracic spine, because that's what's gonna put those lats on tension again. And when you get clients in this position and they start to round their back, they're gonna feel a different stretch that they haven't been able to feel before. So anything from this low back all the way up into the arm, so it crosses through the armpit, but this is where it can create that low back pain. If this is all tense up here and we're having a shoulder issue, or we know we have limited mobility here, it can end up resulting in low back pain. So 15 or 20 seconds, we'll have her do it 2 or 3 times until that loosens up. Certainly she kind of do a little cat-cow here. She wants to relax it and then go back into the rounding of her back to get that stretch into those lats. After we get some of that tissue moving, right, we softened it up, we've got it stretched out a little bit, we want to learn for her brain to use it in that full position. So we're going to move over to the pull-up bar. And we don't want her actually doing pull-ups. We want to work on the lowering part of the pull-up instead. So we're going to let her use a boxer step, and she's actually going to literally jump up there, and then she's going to lower herself down slowly. And we're working on the lengthening control of that lat, right? And then she will use her feet to get herself back up there. And we'll just try to do a nice, slow 5-second descent if we can. 5 to 10 reps of that is going to be plenty. Also, if you're a person that just struggles to do pull-ups, this is a great way to build strength for that. If we can work on the lowering and the controlling, you actually build a lot of strength doing that, and that might help you be able to get to your first pull-up. But we're doing this because we're trying to treat any sort of low back pain, make sure we take any tension from the lats out of the low back. And that's kind of how we're gonna work through that progression. So if we have her come back over, well, let's rescreen those lats and see if we made a change there. So we primarily worked on the left side, right? We did the foam roll on the left, we stretched both sides, we did the pull-up on both sides. So let's start with knees to the chest, fingertips up, good. And letting those arms come all the way back, right? So this now, we've changed to what looked like when the legs were down, right? So she's got more length in that lat now, and this is gonna release tension in her low back. And then we'll just confirm it, fingertips up, legs down flat, and go all the way up. right? And this is the same position. Now, if she had a shoulder restriction, there's something going on with the joint, she'd be restricted no matter what position her legs were in, right? But because we saw a difference between the legs being up and the legs being down, that tells us that it's soft tissue. It has to do with her lats. So that is the way that we're going to work on lat mobility to help you with low back pain, because when you're trying to have fun on the mountain, you're trying to do stuff in the gym, low back pain is a big limitation for you. So make sure you take care of those lats, don't miss those shoulders, and make sure you check back in for our next thing.